Welcome back, everyone. For years now, one Yellowstone spin-off has remained surrounded by mystery, rumors, and endless fan theories. We've heard about it. We've seen characters connected to it. And we've watched Taylor Sheridan slowly build anticipation for it. Yet somehow, 6666 remains one of the most mysterious projects in the entire Yellowstone universe. And honestly, that mystery might be exactly what makes it so exciting. Because unlike most Yellowstone spin-offs, 6666 has the potential to become something completely different. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Yellowstone. It's one of the greatest modern Western dramas ever created. But one thing we've learned from recent spin-offs is that Taylor Sheridan isn't interested in telling the same story over and over again. That's why I believe 6666 could end up being one of the most unique shows in the franchise. The first reason is simple. The Four Sixes Ranch is real. Unlike the Yellowstone Ranch, which exists primarily as a television setting, the Four Sixes Ranch has a history stretching back more than a century. It's one of the most respected ranches in America and has become legendary in the world of cattle ranching and horse breeding. And here's what makes the story even more interesting. Taylor Sheridan actually purchased the ranch himself. Think about that for a second. Most creators build fictional worlds. Sheridan bought a real one. That decision alone tells us how important this project is to him. This isn't just another Yellowstone spin-off.
It's a chance to tell stories inspired by a real ranch, real traditions, and real cowboy culture.
That's also probably one reason why the project has taken so long to develop. Sheridan has previously suggested that he wants to approach Four Sixes differently, because it's a real place with real people working there every day. And honestly, I respect that. Because if this show is done correctly, it could become the most authentic cowboy series on television. Now let's talk about the character everyone expects to see. Jimmy Hurdstrom. If you watched Yellowstone from the beginning, you know just how incredible Jimmy's journey has been. When he first arrived at the Yellowstone Ranch, nobody expected much from him. He was inexperienced, constantly making mistakes, and often looked completely lost. But that's exactly why fans connected with him. Jimmy wasn't a natural cowboy. He had to earn everything. Every lesson came through failure. Every victory felt deserved. And then everything changed when he was sent to Texas. The Four Sixes Ranch transformed Jimmy. He became more confident, more disciplined, more capable. For the first time, he truly looked like he belonged. That's why many fans believe Jimmy should be the main character of 6666. And honestly, I agree. Instead of watching another perfect cowboy who already knows everything, we'd get to follow someone who continues to grow and learn. Imagine Jimmy becoming a mentor for younger ranch hands. Imagine him teaching lessons that he once struggled to learn himself. That kind of character development would be incredibly satisfying. But Jimmy isn't the only Yellowstone character who could play a major role. Let's talk about Teeter. Few characters brought as much personality and energy to Yellowstone as Teeter. Whether she was making fans laugh or proving herself on the ranch, she always stood out. But by the end of Yellowstone, everything changed. The loss of Colby was heartbreaking, and for Teeter, staying in Montana may simply be too painful. That's why Texas makes so much sense for her story. The Four Sixes Ranch could represent a fresh start, a place where she can rebuild her life while still carrying the memories of the people she lost. What's interesting is that grief could become one of the most important parts of her character arc. Imagine Teeter throwing herself into work, working harder than ever, trying to avoid dealing with the pain she's carrying inside. On the surface, she looks stronger than ever, but beneath that strength, she's still struggling. That emotional journey could make her one of the most compelling characters in the entire Yellowstone universe. Now, let's discuss Travis. And yes, I know this character divides fans. Some viewers love him. Others think he gets too much attention. But regardless of where you stand, Travis feels like an important part of the Four Sixes world. Personally, I think the best version of Travis in this series would be a mentor. Someone who guides the next generation of cowboys instead of constantly taking center stage. That approach would allow Jimmy and Teeter to remain the emotional core of the show, while still benefiting from Travis's experience. Now let's move on to something that has many fans excited: the crossover possibilities. Because there are growing theories that 6666 won't exist completely on its own. Instead, it could connect directly with other Yellowstone spin-offs. One theory that continues gaining attention involves Tate Dutton. Many fans believe Tate could eventually end up in Texas, either through a major storyline or a crossover event involving the Dutton family. And honestly, it's not difficult to imagine. Picture this: something happens to Tate. Casey becomes involved. Beth and Rip get involved. The search leads them all the way to Texas. And suddenly they cross paths with Jimmy and Teeter. Just imagine those reunions. Jimmy seeing the Dutton family again. Beth realizing how much Jimmy has changed. Rip meeting the 4-6's Cowboys. Fans would absolutely love those moments. But what if there's something even bigger happening? What if Tate develops a connection to the ranch itself? Now I know what some of you are thinking. Tate has never seemed interested in becoming a cowboy. And that's true. But people change, especially young people. What if Texas gives Tate a new perspective? What if Jimmy becomes a mentor figure in his life? What if 4-6 helps him discover a future he never imagined? Considered before? Even if that storyline only lasts a season, it could create some fascinating character development. Another reason why I'm excited about 6666 is because the show could feel very different from Yellowstone. Yellowstone often focused on political conflicts, family wars, and battles over land. 4-6 might focus on something much simpler: the cowboy lifestyle itself, the daily challenges of ranch life, the traditions that have survived for generations, the realities of working on one of America's most legendary ranches. And honestly, many fans would love that. Some of the best Yellowstone scenes weren't the shootouts or dramatic confrontations. They were the quiet moments: cowboys working cattle, riding horses, living life on the ranch. A 4-6 series could build an entire show around those elements, and that sounds incredibly refreshing. Now let's answer the biggest question: when will we finally see 6666? Unfortunately, nobody knows. There is still no official release date. But considering how many Yellowstone projects are currently in development, the delay isn't surprising. Taylor Sheridan has a lot on his plate. And because 4-6 is such an important project, it makes sense that he wants to get it right. Personally, I think a release sometime in late 2027 feels realistic. That would give the franchise time to develop other spin-offs, while allowing 4-6 to arrive when audiences are ready for something new. Of course, that's just my prediction. The show could arrive sooner. Or it could take even longer. At this point, anything is possible. But one thing feels certain: whenever 6666 finally premieres, expectations will be incredibly high. Fans have spent years imagining what this series could become. And because of that, the show has a chance to become one of the most anticipated projects in Yellowstone history. Whether Teeter finds healing, whether Tate eventually visits Texas, or whether Taylor Sheridan surprises us with something completely unexpected, the future of 6666 remains one of the biggest mysteries in the Yellowstone universe. And honestly, I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. But now I want to hear from you. Who do you think should be the main character of 6666? Would you like to see Jimmy and Teeter return? And do you think Tate could eventually end up at the 4-6's ranch? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Yellowstone updates and theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.